All right. We're going to try this again. We are going to try this one more time. See if we can stay alive this time. And sharing. Crap. All right, bear with me. I'm just trying to get back up and running again. Shit was insane. All right. In the meantime, let me try to get this thing going here.
Real communism.
All right.
They choose their chains because they are weak. They are afraid of differences and their own ability to handle things that are different. They do not trust in their own moral character. They are afraid of what comes next. But I can say something they can't say. I am not afraid. Actually, given the size of this crowd, I'm fucking terrified. But in principle, I am free. I will not allow the fearful to take my freedom from me because they have no faith in themselves. Thank you.
The next lad up, I usually, if I'm preparing to do interviews or go on people's shows, I have to do some preparation. But when I go on this man's show, I don't have to do any preparation because we just have a laugh. Gavin McInnes. Gavin Officehead McInnes.
Thanks for understanding, guys. I just got that last live stream shut down because I had way too much going on. My computer shut down.
You see fish? Mama hates fish. My parents are from Scotland, by the way. How's about fucking Scotland? Run and you will live. But what would you give to come back to this day and fight against the fucking English? Am I right? See, my parents, they're from the Gorbals and Pollokshaws, and the thing about Scotland as a wee man is that I notice people like a bit of patter. They like joking around. I remember I was running with my gran for the bus, and she finally caught the bus. And she says that the bus driver opens the door and he goes, just you keep running ahead and you're going to get doing before I do. Scotland is about making jokes, being offensive, being crude, and being rude. So in about 1974, my parents moved to England when I was born. I was born in Itchen, not far up the road. And I noticed the same sort of deal, right? Mucking about. Jesus mucking about. And I thought everything I liked about Scotland, when I visit my gran, is eminently true here. We go to the pub as a baby, they'd bring me to the pub, they'd banter on about, they'd have a fag, not a homosexual, it's a cigarette. Probably have a fag too, I don't know what they got up to. And we would come to Speaker's Corner when I was a wee lad. And I remember being faint memories as a toddler going to Speaker's Corner. I didn't know what anyone was on about, but I knew they were mucking about, and I knew they were on about something. And I just knew I liked it, right? So then we moved to Canada in about 1975 or so. So I go down there and I just go, hello, everyone. I'm perfectly chuffed to be here. I want to get a Parker, and I'm very excited about Canada. And they just went, pounded the accent right out of me. Then I was a Canadian. So I stay down there, right? And I'm like, this fucking rocks. And we're joking around. We came with a lot of Indians in the early 70s, right? And a lot of, you'd get beat up for an accent back then. And it was our way of sort of making everyone Canadian. And within a week, you're smoking a dart and you're fucking fighting during hockey and all that and fucking going to the fucking DOA concert and fucking slamming and shit. You got a 2-4 under your arm. And then I moved to America in the 90s. Yeah, boo. Boo it up. Oh, boo.
Sorry, I had to get mine in there.
That is the Zimbabwean word for freedom, I believe. So then we're in America. And I've had a pretty good run here in the Western world, in Scotland and England and Canada and America. And I look back now and I think, what's happened to my culture? What happened to the West? We got a guy up here for Scotland who is arrested for teaching a pug to Zeke Heil. That's a fucking joke. For teaching a pug to Zeke Heil. That's a fucking joke. And he likes to talk about how it's about context and everything. Fuck context. You can teach your dog to Zeke Heil, I don't care. It's none of my business. Fuck context. The beauty of Speaker's Corner is you just dig up the muck. Sunlight is the best disinfectant. Get it all out. Everyone can. We have a pedophile coming on next who's going to make the case about how babies are sexy. He's going to have a baby in lingerie up here. It's a very tricky argument to make, but we're going to let him. No, just kidding.
Oh, dear.
Fuck context. I don't care about context. What separates us from the rest of the other species? We talk to each other. We go, hey, cave friend, don't go near a saber-toothed tiger. It will eat you. And then that caveman goes, thanks for the story, pal. Mental note. Giant cats with huge fangs are bad news. We keep evolving. And now we're devolving with these new rules where we can't say certain things. We can't offend people. It's not just un-American or un-British or un-Scottish or Canadian. It's inhuman. I hope this doesn't offend any animals in the audience, but humans are better than all other animals. Fuck raccoons. Fuck dogs. Deer, what is on your head? A bunch of knives? What are you doing? You're not even carnivores. You eat grass? What do you do in the winter, you losers? And I think Britain, and let's stop joking around here. We know that Britain created the modern world, right? Like this, and the zip tie, and the tape, and this, and the printer, this, and this mic stand. Everything! You're welcome! Why are we so ashamed of these wonderful creations? Shit, the only thing we didn't make is that fucking tree! And we planted it, by the way. So I'll just end with the story about the founding of America. The colonies encouraged dissent. They said, we need newspapers in every town along the East Coast. Boston needs a newspaper, New York needs a newspaper. Everyone needs their own little newspaper, and I don't want it to all be the same. Have debates in the paper, argue with each other, talk about amendments. Maybe you all want guns. Maybe you should have a revolution or something. And the next thing you know, they had a revolution. And the lesson from that is free speech is very dangerous to the state.
Mm-hmm.
The government doesn't like free speech.
Mm-hmm.
And they tricked us into culturally thinking that we don't like free speech. We don't like telling stories. We're worried about offending people, but we're not.
Offending people is the last thing on my mind.
When you see people talk on TV, they sound like aliens. That's not how we talk in pubs. And the reason those two are different is because it's based on this assumption that we're homophobic or transphobic or racist, blah, blah. It's all a fucking lie. Everyone is pretty decent human beings at the end of the day. We're all normal. We all like each other. So fuck off with the censorship. And here's another problem with it. By ostracizing those who are brave enough to speak out, you are forcing us to band together. I'm hanging out back here with trannies, homosexuals, and fucking soccer hooligans. All they do is say sound all the time. Sound, 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 sound. I don't understand them. Help. I want to rejoin the public. Just kidding, minds. Top gazes, sound, sound, sound. Look, we're at a point now where being a normal human being is considered radical. To talk in public the way you talk to your brother is considered radical. I don't know how we got here. I guess it's in the name of tolerance, but it's not who we are. It's not who we are as Scots. It's not who we are as Canadians. It's not who we are as English. It's not who we are as Americans. It's not who we are as human beings. Like having a laugh. Can we have a fucking laugh again? Can we be arrogant and rude and stupid?
All of the above.
Can we wear a gaudy Hawaiian shirt and fart? You know, when people chant USA, USA, they're really saying, we love the Western world, we love Canada, we love Scotland, we love Canada, we love Britain, we love England, we love Wales. We're not ashamed of inventing everything, and we want to have a laugh and have some fun. If there's one thing that defines Western culture, it's fun. That's the irony of this whole thing. We're out here on stage defending fun. How is that a radical idea? When did having a laugh become radical? Well, I'll tell you what, I'm willing to die to have a laugh. I'm not even joking. I'm willing to die to sit in a pub with my friend and tell a disgusting sexist joke. Good luck taking that away from me. With Molane, they say, good luck, come and get them, come and get my guns. You're not going to take my guns? I feel that way about jokes. Come and try to take my free speech. Do your best. Do your worst. And I'll fucking bar you so well. We tried it their way because we're open-minded, because as I said earlier, we're all basically decent people. So when they told us to shut up and they told us not to say this, not to say that, to behave this way and use this terminology, we went, all right, I'll try it. And then we went, I don't like that anymore. It doesn't feel me, you know? It doesn't feel human to be constantly apologizing and censoring myself. I feel like I'm giving myself cancer when I shut my mouth. So you gotta let it out. And we do. And we will win this battle, ultimately, because we're fighting for humanity. We're fighting to be ourselves. We're fighting to be proud and unashamed of who we are. And what are we? We're Westerners. If you want to come here and you have those values, come on in. And if you look at a part of the local pub, we'd love to have a bite with you. But if you want to tell us what to do, you can fuck off. Now, I know you might be a little peeved about that incident a couple 100 years ago with when we were hiding in the trees with the Indians and all that. But as a symbolic gesture, I'd really appreciate if you could repeat after me as a British person. I was born here. USA, 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 US fucking A! Thanks, guys.
Well, that was everything I expected it would be.
Unfortunately, the next guest can't be with us because she was arrested under counter-terrorism charges, held, detained, and refused entry into our country. When you think about the people that we have coming into our country, the terrorists, the hate preachers, we have Pakistani preachers who are banned from preaching in Pakistan, touring our country in mosques. I'll let Lauren do the talking. I'll give you Lauren Southern, the beautiful Lauren Southern.
Lauren Southern must be coming in from stream. Cool.
Hey everyone.
Pre-recorded, I guess.
I'm sure you all know why I can't be here with you today in person. The UK government, in its infinite wisdom, has decided that my presence is not conducive to the public good. Why do they say this? Well, this is because I handed out flyers a few months ago in Luton claiming that Allah is gay. I did this because the media and the establishment assured me that Islam was just like any other religion in the West. And rather than accepting that theory uncritically, I decided to test it. You see, the one thing that almost all religions in the West have in common is an ability to cope with the sneers and the mockery of an increasingly secular culture. And this is not an endorsement of that mockery, but rather a badge of honor for these religions who uphold freedom of speech. It shows their compatibility with a society founded on the values of debate and free thought. They have all had their idols mocked, and they have learned to roll with the punches. But not Islam. All religions are equal, but it seems some religions are more equal than others. While Christianity can be spat on, mocked, and ridiculed, the UK government derives hate speech laws to protect Islam. The European people keep their mouths shut because they fear another Charlie Hebdo, and our youth are bullied into submission by their educational institutions to bow to Mecca in the name of tolerance. But some ideas need to be challenged, and all ideas deserve to be ridiculed. How easy would it be to just do what we're told, to live quietly, to bow down, and to sing the slogans of the powerful, to quietly accept the paltry rewards of the obedient? But that's just not in us, is it? It's certainly not in the people who showed up today, and it is certainly not in the historical spirit and soul of this great United Kingdom. Because the spirit of the West is engulfed in a restlessness that hates submission and detests conformity, that craves conflict and yearns for infinity. Ours is a spirit of revolution, a compulsion to overturn what is established and to reshape the world. This revolutionary impulse is no longer an attribute or characteristic of the left, despite how progressives tout that it's their cornerstone to this day, but it is now one of the right, of conservatives, of libertarians, and even classical liberals. And what better word than the Latin word for a turnaround? We've gone too far down this path of insanity into a clown world that no longer upholds morality or even reality. It's about time we spun on our heels. And so the modern revolutionary rages against progressivism, for this doctrine has become the establishment's Bible. And with its actualization comes stagnancy and decay. We are in a unique position to witness this changing paradigm, to see that perhaps intolerance and narrow-mindedness were never inherent characteristics of the right or the left, but are instead characteristics of humans in positions of power. Power which enables us to ignore perspectives that challenge our worldview and to shut down those who try to disrupt the status quo. And as that pendulum swings back and forth, as it historically has for ages, how easy would it be for us to flatter ourselves when the winds blow in our favor? How easy would it be to forget our skepticism of established ideas and our respect for the embattled pioneer? I know that today many of us work in the process of swinging that pendulum back, but I pray that when we do, we have the maturity to remember the lessons we learned from the margins, how power can cripple and how righteousness blinds. I hope we remain vigilant to our own fallibility and avoid the simplistic moralisms of these left-wing censorship organizations we see today. And I only end with this message of warning because I truly believe that we have a shot at winning back our voice, at winning back our freedoms. In fact, a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. And like those brave past opponents of tyranny, we cannot afford to fail. The British politician Enoch Powell said of another immigration crisis, "All I know is that to see and not to speak would be the great betrayal." But there is a greater betrayal than this, and it is being perpetrated by today's establishment. It knows what we see, and because we see, it is determined that we do not speak. But ladies and gentlemen, today and all other days, we shall. We shall speak in Whitehall. We shall speak at Speaker's Corner. We shall speak in Paris. We shall speak in Brussels. We shall never be silent. And ladies and gentlemen, we shall never surrender.
It's awesome that she could be there regardless. I mean, sure, they can keep her out physically, but we've got the technology. She can be there.
And actually, the recording,
regardless,
when they arrested her, the police rang her dad, and her dad recorded the conversation. And they said she's been arrested under Section 7 of the Terrorism Act. But don't worry, we know she's not a terrorist. So you're admitting an abuse of power and law in order to stop people coming together. They know that she has the ability to make people listen. They know that. They don't want her in our country. They've done the same with Brittany Pettibone. The next character coming up, I've watched as he triggers everyone, everywhere he goes.
Milo? Oh, that was an easy call. All right. Miss Dia, if you're still watching, your man's on.
Thank you.
Here we go.
It's not on.
I love listening to this guy talk.
I know what you're thinking. He's even better looking in person. It's not working. We'll just have to hold it like a pleb. Thank you. Now, I may have been away for a while, been in America, being really, really, really famous, but I haven't forgotten my roots. My hairdresser forgot my roots this morning. I haven't forgotten my roots, which is why I splashed out $4,000 on this Turnbull and Astor jacket for you. Now, I shouldn't crow about money. Some of you will have read about some financial difficulties recently. See the coverage about that? It's been a very humbling experience. I like to say I'm between billionaires at the moment. Oh, but it's been awful. We've had to put a deposit down on the cheap Lamborghini. The Huracan. Can you imagine it? Yes, so hardship is relative. And to the Gizmodo and BuzzFeed reporters asking me how I go on, I will earn more this year than you will in your entire lifetime, so go fuck yourself, sweetheart. Now, this is lovely, but it's also very hot, so give me a second.
Look, I'm not gay, but I might make an exception for a guy like that.
That's all
Just
you're
saying.
getting. I do need a Lamborghini, but not that much.
Bitcoin, hashtag crypto.
Now, today's not really about me, like the rest of my life. Today is about you, and with that in mind, there's some serious things to say. First of all, the intrepid speakers who have come on. You've got two guys left to hear from today, and I'm going to introduce them at the end. The speakers today have been through some harrowing ordeals.
They've been through really bad shit
Made it back up.
in their defense of free speech. Count Dankula, do you fucking mind? They've been through some really bad stuff. Convicted of mocking Nazis on the internet. Count Dankula, Tommy, who cannot go anywhere without risking being attacked. Almost everybody who you'll hear from today has risked something. I too have risked something. I flew here in economy class. I know, you're gonna have to tell me, next to some corpulent, snoring mother. Gavin McInnes, fired from every company he's ever started. Even I can't claim that. Now, you've shown courage in being here. You've risked opprobrium, you've risked censure, but you're braving the ridicule and the lies. Congratulations to you. You should be proud of being here, because showing up is no mean feat in the current environment. Now, of course, none of us here is genuinely far right. Well, none of the speakers you're hearing from qualify as that in my book. Glad you weren't put off by the name calling in the press. For instance, I, as a gay half-Jew with a black husband, am, according to BuzzFeed, the closest thing to David Duke in journalism. I would never join the KKK. Mostly because things really don't show off your figure. And also because I'd have to get a sort of seasonal membership.
What a terrible joke.
Since wearing white after Labor Day would get me even more ostracized from gay public life than I already am. And there's the whole I don't hate black people thing. Now, since the fake news media are here in abundance, let me address, and I hate to talk about myself, and I promise we'll get on to the good stuff in a minute, but let me address a few of the allegations, because I know it can be tough being a Milo fan sometimes. First of all, they call me an Islamophobe. Well, they couldn't be more wrong. Muslims and I have lots in common. We both think women should be never seen and never heard. We both throw massive tantrums when we don't get adequately coddled. And a Friday afternoon, I too can be found in a room full of sweaty, hairy men with my ass in the air, ululating in ecstasy. So you see, we have more in common than divides us. They say I hate women. Well, so do other women.
Someone's mad in this tweet.
One of the things they don't tell you when they write about this outburst, this supposed outburst of abuse and harassment on the internet, sexism in the workplace and in universities, it's all fucking women doing it. It's other girls, they forget to mention that. 9 times out of 10, when a woman is called a bitch, it's another girl doing it, or it's me. When I want to insult a woman, I do it to her face, or I do it from stage. For instance, Caroline Criado Perez is a worthless, brainless cunt. Another one they say all the time, transphobe. Well, they've got me there. I must admit it, but aren't we all really? I don't think transphobic's the best word for it, really, because I'm less scared of them than I am amused by the bad wigs and how thin-skinned they are. They call me anti-Semitic, despite the fact that my mother is Jewish, and the only thing that I say about the Jews is I think it's great we run everything. And that we can control the weather. I mean, look. Did you see that adorable little dreadlocked lawmaker from Chicago? He's currently in trouble because he got caught on video saying that the weather was manipulated by the Rothschilds. I wish someone had told me. What do you do? Can someone tell me? Are there any Jews here? Are there any Jews? Yes, plenty of Jews. Do I just do the Doctor Strange thing and wish for it? Nobody told them I was here. If only I'd known Jews had this kind of power, I'd have made it a bit cooler today. Now, perhaps we can have the protesters rained on, although it sounds like plenty of you have been up to that already. Now, if Britain were a free country, following the lead of Trayon White, that lawmaker in Chicago, I might spend the next few minutes speculating what other races have by way of superpowers. Fuck it, I will. Perhaps the Chinese can divide by 0. It was a math joke. None of you got it. The Japanese, they look good in everything, don't they? Whatever clothes they wear, they always seem to look fashionable and elegant, just effortless. Like Chicken Breast and Sally Burkow, they go with everything. It was a sex joke. Just didn't like that one. Black people, in Wakanda, that was good. It's okay, you can laugh. My favorite tweet of all time, by the way, was from a Black Lives Matter activist who was angry that she couldn't find Wakanda on a world atlas. And she said that this was a typical example of how a white oppression erases people of color from historical narratives.
Oh, Jesus.
It's wonderful. She hadn't been that mad since they discovered that Tutankhamun had mostly European DNA and that the rest of the pharaohs were East Asian. He was kings. Thank you. And then, of course, there's white people. White, not supposed to, thank you. This is a politically correct, Guardian-approved booing. But white people have superpowers too. There's parliamentary democracy, capitalism, the rule of law, property rights, TV and radio, cars, light bulbs, the printing press, the internet, Shakespeare, Mozart, St. Peter's Basilica, and Kate Smurthwaite. We have to admit our mistakes too. I love my white privilege, don't you? I think it's wonderful, I bask in it. My white privilege enables me to be labeled defective by the media and by celebrities because of the color of my skin. It allows me the pleasure of being told that because I'm white, I'm responsible for the sins of every white person in history, and that my life has been an effortless glide through the highest echelons of society. Well, let me tell you, it hasn't all been plain sailing. There were years we couldn't heat the pool. Ordinary people like us hate to play the victim, because we know that playing the victim is what the left does, using their confected grievances and imaginary victimhood and spinning it into social capital. But there's no shame in occasionally pointing out when you are actually the victim of something. Outrage, the word outrage has been sort of ruined by Twitter. We associate it with lies. But outrage, properly understood, is a normal human reaction to injustice. And everybody here, by dint of what you believe, because you think that people should be able to speak freely, because you think that ideas are more important than skin color, because you like your country, you are the victims of injustice. Your supposed white privilege enables you to be actively discriminated against in university applications because your life is just so fucking great. And if you're one of the many minority members here, you are kicked and spat at, called an Uncle Tom, pathologized because you have the wrong opinions for your identity, which is arguably way worse. Have you ever heard me called self-loathing? It's only true around Christmas when I put on a few extra pounds. But really it's an attempt to pathologize. What they're trying to do is give me a disease, a brain disease. They're saying, if you believe something other than I do, you must be ill, and you must especially be sick because you're gay and you're supposed to be with us. Now, quite honestly, I don't care much about race, and I don't spend a lot of time thinking about it. But talk to those boys, those white working class boys who are failing at school, whose literacy rates are through the floor, who cannot get an education or even a job, about white privilege. Talk to the young girls of Rotherham, or Telford, about white privilege. I, in fact, have a strictly no whites policy in common with the BBC, but mine is restricted to my bedroom. The BBC wants to roll it out across the corporation. It should and it must be okay if you are a black person who has been instructed what to believe. If you are a woman who is suspicious about this wage gap crap, and it is crap, it doesn't exist. A female Harvard economist last year tried desperately to establish the existence of the wage gap and couldn't. There's nothing wrong with occasionally drawing attention to the fact that you are, in fact, a victim of something. There's no such thing as white privilege. Mostly there's people with money and people without money. Poverty and lack of opportunity are colorblind, just like the solution to both of them, capitalism and free speech. Now, what I really care about is ideas and values. And the value we're here today to defend is the right of every man, woman, and child to say, do, and be whatever the hell they want.
I heard that.
This is your moment. This is your Woodstock. This is the thing that nobody ever thought could happen. Thousands upon thousands of people gathering in the centre of London from all political persuasions, genders, ideologies, orientations, and skin colours. Drag queens, for fuck's sake. What are you guys doing listening to drag queens? This is the coalition the left has created. This is the coalition that the left is responsible for, and, by the way, some establishment conservatives too, by endlessly bending to their demands. Nothing is more disappointing to me than the horror of the current state of the Spectator magazine, which was the last bastion of common sense, and now publishes Matthew Paris. The elites are not going to help you. Where were the comedians in Britain when a YouTuber was threatened with imprisonment for telling a joke? Frankie Boyle's entire career is based on pissing people off. Not for some higher moral purpose, but because he gets off on it. And I know what he means. Where the fuck was he? Where has the Conservative Party in this country been when people expressing ordinary right-wing points of view, respectable, reasonable opinions, have become expelled from public life, chased from the BBC, invited only on as cranks and crackpots against 3 liberals, including, of course, the host? But the people of this country are behind you. They prove it when they voted for Brexit. I don't know. Guessing by the number of flags here that most of you are probably Brexit voters. But I'm willing to bet that there was a sizable portion of people who voted for Brexit without giving much of a shit about the EU, who just wanted to say, stop telling me what to do. Stop telling me how to think. I would have been one of them. The police are behind you. They can't say it, don't look at them. Don't put them on the spot. They're ruled over by politically correct appointees who have decided that the priorities of various police forces should be scouring the internet for mean words instead of, you know, stopping systematic racially oriented gang rape. Of course, the army and the armed forces are heroes, people who fight for our freedoms while watching. Can you imagine coming home from Iraq or Afghanistan and seeing the freedoms that you have put yourself literally on the firing line to protect unravel day by day? Because conservatives who should be standing up for us Tories and journalists who should be maintaining our freedoms have utterly capitulated to the progressive left. No more. Most importantly, thank you, Pumpkin. Most importantly, truth and righteousness are behind you. You're the vanguard. You are the dark knights. The first men and women to proudly stand with your heads above the parapet, caring nothing for the bullets that may come your way. And for that, I salute you. Thank you. Defending free expression is not, by the way, code for permitting racism. This is not a secret plan to encourage the growth of bigotry. I don't want everyone telling horrendous jokes about racial minorities. My friend Gavin would be out of a job. Our movement is just what we say it is. A demand that ordinary, respectable, reasonable points of view are allowable in polite society and appear just a bit more often on telly. This is the refusal to accept the criminalization of comedy. Now, unlike some of you here today, I am a full-blooded free speech fundamentalist. I want Nazis on TV, not because I like them, BuzzFeed, you know which bit of the quote they're going to use, but because I believe that good ideas and bad ideas deserve to duke it out. Because I am a classical liberal, I believe J.S. Mill when he tells us that if we don't rigorously and regularly defend our ideas and our ideology, we lose them. They become dead dogmas. We don't know why we believe them anymore. And because I saw what happened when Nick Griffin went on Question Time, I saw what happened when in many instances, you know, in America, when genuine racists, people who actually think that someone should be expelled from a country or shouldn't have the vote or isn't as morally significant because of the color of their skin. And I don't know anyone like that. I would probably have met them by now. When those people are exposed to the harsh light of day, I believe that sunlight is the best disinfectant. I want everyone, no matter what they believe, no matter how batshit feminist or unpleasantly racist they are, I want them to be heard, because that is the only way I believe that a civilized society progresses. The left can't win on arguments, so they have to win with intimidation and bullying. They have to win with other tactics, but I want people to see everybody. The more people tune into Kathy Newman, the more guaranteed a conservative majority is forever. So yes, we're all lied about as a way of making us unpalatable and of driving us from public view, but the dam is breaking, and this is it. It's not working anymore. When you say, as Tommy and Gavin and Raheem and I do, that you're a Western chauvinist, a Western supremacist, this is translated for you by the helpful members of the media as an admission of racism, but nothing could be further from the truth. You don't have to read between the lines of what we say to find out what we mean. We tell you what we mean. And the way you know that is if you ask an actual white nationalist or an actual white supremacist or an actual neo-Nazi, if there are one, they'll say, yeah. Invariably. Left has a problem, I think, don't they? The establishment, the left, they have a problem with taking what people say at face value. Doesn't matter how many times or in how much detail jihadis praise Allah and say all of what they're doing is for the greater glory of their God. No, it must be toxic, sorry, I know. It must be toxic masculinity or gun control or something like that. The Pulse nightclub shooter who killed 49 gays and hurt another 50, they lied about and said he was gay. They said it was repressed self-loathing. No evidence whatsoever for that. We think the West is the best. You guys love your queen. And you don't mind that lady in Buckingham Palace either. Who the hell wouldn't be proud to be British? I mean, I wavered for a bit, but coming back here and realizing there's hope, it should be okay to say that our values are the best and that others are inferior. I don't hate anybody for their faith, even if I think that faith is structurally unsound and they're an idiot for believing it, but I should be able at least to point out the hypocrisy of liberals who say they support women and homosexuals while at the same time mollycoddling and pandering to a belief system that wants me dead. The world does not conform to the universe painted by The Guardian and the BBC. I don't know how much black dick I have to suck before BuzzFeed stops calling me a white nationalist. I think the answer is a lot more. Happy to. But you know why they lie at you? They lie to you, rather, about you, lie in general. And then I must go because I'm running late, sorry. They lie about you because they're afraid. They lie about you because they're scared. They lie about you because they know they're about to lose. They're like a dog in the corner of a room, close to death, almost kicked to death. That's when they're the most vicious. That's when they're the most dangerous. That's when they resort to violence and nothing else. Back at the left today, they know they're about to lose. And the next 30 years is going to be a glorious, shitlord-filled explosion of political incorrectness. It is going to be a bright, beautiful, fabulous future of people saying what they actually believe instead of what they're supposed to. They are afraid of us, and they should be. These sexless soy boy bloggers, frumpy, cat-drenched, piss-stained, cardigan-wearing lesbians. In a future imagined by BuzzFeed, it is not The Handmaid's Tale with women swinging from these buildings. It is you. And we cannot allow it. If we lose Europe, we lose everything. Some politicians are getting our message. At the end of this month, I'm going at the invitation of the Orbán government to speak in Budapest in Hungary. Any politician, any politician brave or stupid enough to invite me is clearly seeing what the rest of us have seen. Be what you want, do what you want, say what you want, and never lose your conscience. Always stand by your principles and they will crumble. Thank you very much. God bless, thank you. And now allow me to introduce a man who learned everything from me. No, I'm just kidding. It is the indefatigable and awesome, and you should have seen that Sky clip of him. He's incredible. He is your greatest defender in British media. Very proud to call him friend. Please welcome Raheem Kassam.
This is a guy I haven't heard of before.
All right, we're going to keep it brief. You guys have been here a long time, and we're so grateful. By the way, Milo was great. I love a good fact, right?
I'd like to hear what he has to say. I assume it's probably, more of the same general trends.
Are you going to sing it or what? All right. By the way, that sounds a lot better than the Jeremy Corbyn dirge that they sing at momentum rallies, right? Okay, so look, I'm going to be very, very brief with you guys. I'm supposed to be on for a little bit longer, but I know you're waiting to hear from Tommy. We also got to get out of here because I know the police have worked hard all day. They want to get home too. I want to say thank you to all of them. And by the way, thank you to all our great servicemen and women out there who have defended this country. Say thank you. By the way, can we also, I want a round of applause for the Antifa protesters and the media who came out today. Because you know what? They're exercising their freedom of speech too. And I think we say, hey, great, good for you, let's go. Let's have the arguments. Let's do it. Let's have the arguments, because we can win the arguments. We are winning the arguments here today. And let me tell you something, ladies and gentlemen. There is a political establishment out there right now who are trying to debase every single element of your personhood. They are trying to debase your currency. They are trying to debase your citizenship. And as we've seen recently with the Facebook scandals and all that, they are now trying to debase your online personas. They own you. They think they own you. But do they own you? Say it so Teresa can hear it. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my great pleasure to introduce the man behind all of this. Look, without these organisers, Kaylin, George, Lucy, none of this would have been possible. But none of this especially would have been possible without the great Tommy Robinson!
Really? Really, with the deep, ominous music before we start? That's not dramatic. I mean, I get it. They gotta pump up people for the event. That's funny. And a lot of people are saying that the fact that they're able to set up a stage here and give a speech to all of these people here that they're not being arrested for it right now is proof that they still have free speech. And I don't think that's the argument that these people are making. It's the fact that if things keep going as they are going now, I mean, right now we have this kind of soft censorship, this self-censorship that's been going on. And if things continue in this trend, we probably will see in a possible event where this kind of event couldn't happen. Looks like that crowd got even bigger.
It's making me emotional, man. Stand up here and cry in a minute. Can I just say what an unbelievable feeling it is to know that I have the support? It's an immense feeling. And I know that it's such that everything they've tried.
Do you guys hear Tommy Robinson talking?
People sitting in there are tarnishing us, slandering us, trying to silence us. And I know what the reaction I get when I travel the country, that the people are not listening to them, that the people are supporting us. The people of this country have been silenced for 20 to 30 years with the tag of racist. They have managed to silence people so they're too scared to speak up when they see things that are wrong. They're too scared to tell the truth and identify problems with an ideology and a religion in our country because they're worried about being called racist. They now realise that that tag is dead. No one cares anymore of being labelled as a racist. So they've now introduced their new term, hate speech. What is hate speech? There's a 16-year-old boy somewhere in here. I'm going to interview him next week. He went to Speaker's Corner and he debated Ali Dawah. And he stated facts about Islam. He was visited last week by counter-terrorism officials as part of the Prevent strategy. His mother was in pieces, crying, scared, worried. The justification the police give for coming and visiting him, they asked him questions. Would you kill for your ideology? He has said nothing extreme. Nothing wrong and nothing non-factual. But the police are visiting him. There's another man up in Burnley, up north as well, who this has happened to. The reason the police gave for visiting him is because they didn't like his opinions on Islam. This is currently what our country's facing. When you hear statistics and they say that 30% of all prevent strategy is now non-Muslims, that's not and again, visits from counter-terrorism. But telling the truth, identifying facts. I had a 14-year-old boy in the north of England who had a mental breakdown because of the visits from Prevent, because he said that Islam was a fascist, violent ideology. These scare tactics, and I'll tell you what, it works. I'm in a group message with this young lad, and there's loads of young lads who are representatives of different football clubs in the country, who are youth, who are 16 to 18 years old. So one boy tells the truth about Islam at Speaker's Corner, and then everyone else sees that counter-terrorism have visited him. That has a knock-on effect. People become scared. People are terrified to identify and speak openly and honestly. We've just seen that my Twitter account was removed for hate. The hate, one of the things that they suspended me for, I said 90% of grooming gang convictions are Muslim men. That is a fact. That is not hate. 20% of them are called Mohammed. But what they removed my Twitter account for was for saying Islam promotes killing people. It does. 100 verses in the Quran incite them to kill. Again, it was a fact. Now, when you see the news reports, this is where we can't be fooled. Our government, there's been 10,000 Twitter accounts closed at the request of government for hate. There's been 140 Twitter accounts closed for terrorism. Hamas are a prescribed terrorist organisation. They have a Twitter account. Hezbollah are a prescribed terrorist organisation. They have a Twitter account. So this is not about rules or regulations or breaching any of their rules. This is about silencing and stopping. Silencing people like me. Milo had his Twitter account closed. Salman had his Twitter account closed. Where we're heading in a few years' time, Facebook, YouTube will all remove our views. And if we're to do anything about it, and it has to be so, there's a video of Yvette Cooper, a Labour politician. She's sitting down with the CEOs of YouTube talking about why my videos are being promoted. This is government interference with private companies to remove certain people's views, which is fascism. Now, Twitter are a private company, so they can remove you if they want. What I want to do is I'm going to take Twitter to court. I'm going to take them to court for discrimination against my physiological beliefs, my deep held beliefs. And I won't get my Twitter account back, but what we'll be able to prove, which needs proving, we need to prove what hate is. We need to prove that facts are now seen as hate. The government are pushing this agenda with private companies. And I'm triggered about my Twitter account still. I deleted my life to concentrate on Twitter. We all will be there. That's what people need to understand. This is the start. Everyone will be removed. All our views will be removed. On the other hand, you have Muslim organisations, you have terrorist groups, you have far left radical groups who aren't being censored. It's certain political opinions are being censored. Also, I've been standing here in the shade. You must have all been boiling here all day. I want to thank you all for your patience as well. I want to do something quickly as well in the middle of the speech. Kagan, George, Lucy, you come up here. I'll be honest, you see all this, you see the organisation for all this, the videos. None of this. And the people were thanking me, those people coming up saying thank you for the day. I didn't do anything, that's the truth. They done it all. We have, for years, the media, is the mainstream media here? The great thing is no one trusts them. No one's reading them, no one's listening to them. Who watches the news? People are now searching for their alternative media. And that's what we want to do. And with the team, we want to bring people real stories. I've got a story that's going to be coming out hopefully next week. 3 young boys were run over. I spent a week looking at the case of the murder of their children.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for Tommy for having the balls to report on our story. Because no one else has.
Tommy has balls.
We're speaking about Josh, Harry and George, who were murdered in Shepperton Lane, Hayes. And this has been covered up by the Met Police and the CPS. Exactly.
Wankers.
We're speaking out because we're not afraid to speak out. We went to Speaker's Corner last Saturday. A Royal Park officer came straight up to me and asked me if I was the organiser of the event. I said, we're just here to speak out about our children. We had this flag. He told me this flag and our balloons could be offensive to certain people. I said, offensive to who? That I'm in Britain, they're not offensive to me, or is that offensive to you? No. Are they going to be waving British flags at the royal wedding? Exactly. So amongst us, we have 35,000 people who hate us, who want to hurt us, who want to kill us. Our poor children has become part of that now. And Theresa May, if you can hear me, if you don't have the guts or the balls to get rid of them, stick me in 10 Downing Street, because I'll do it for you. We are not afraid. Thank you again to Tommy for letting us up here and saying our little bit for now. The video's going to come out and you can see more. We don't just want justice for Josh, Harry and George, we want justice for every British person. We've had enough.
Yes, sir. Tommy's got a bowl full of bull balls.
This video, when you see the story come out, you'll see how disgustingly these families have been treated. You'll see that, I'm getting emotional even thinking about it, man. I'll spend a week trying over their case. You'll see it next week. People have come here from all over the country. People have made this possible. I know you've all had a long day. Many of you have spent your money, you've travelled from far. There's different organisations, different groups of people that have come. I want to bring one of the lads up now, Justin. He's a I see the Proud Boys, I was with them last night. Justin from the Democratic Football Lads Alliance, just say a few words to say thank you to everyone who's come on their part.
I'll start by welcoming everyone to London. Every football firm from all over Britain, our brothers and veterans, and every single one of you who've made the effort to stand up and be counted today. History will look kindly on you. In years to come, people will look back and ask, why didn't we listen to them sooner? We are all taking part in a race against time. Our goal is to educate people before it's too late. Our opposition are those who seek to suffocate freedom of speech. Since 1979, Saudi Arabia have been buying our oxygen, our media, telling us all what to think. The prejudicial bias that runs through our mainstream media, coupled with a perverse political correctness, is a cancer that is spreading through our society. This disease allows the paid-off councils, CPS, police and government to trouser their backhanders, while our children are brainwashed, raped and killed. Successive governments have depleted and neglected our armed forces. Over 7,000 veterans sleep rough on the streets of Britain every day. Our border agency is not fit for purpose. All are welcome to the promised land. Last one in, close the gate behind you. And you don't see any of them sleeping rough. We are a divided nation, the haves and the have-nots, injustice at every corner. Our police stand guard with guns, doing a job that by rights the army should be doing, while our towns and cities are lawless. Telford, Rochdale, Rotherham, Oxford, Newcastle, Manchester, Glasgow, the list goes on and on. And we're here today to demand a national inquiry into what is happening with these grooming towns and what is happening to the millions of children being raped in this country by racists. Private security firms police our communities, doing jobs we pay our police to do. What price do our corrupt councils put on our children's lives? I look out here today and I can see thousands of people who you can't be bought. You all need to come to Manchester on the 2nd of June because our children's lives may very well depend on it. We're the DFLA, and together, all of us here together, are stronger. Ladies and gentlemen, get home safely.
Now, the country I thought I lived in prior to 2009, and the freedoms I thought we had, and the learning curve I've gone on since 2009, we didn't oppose free speech here. There's no pretending. We don't have free speech. Everyone talks about free speech. We have no right to free speech in the UK. Does anyone really feel free saying their opinions? They feel free when your boss is at work. Most people have to hide the fact that they come to these demonstrations. That's not freedom. It's just free to criticise whatever we want. We're being monitored, we're being deceived. You go back through British history. You go back through British world. How's it going? You go back to our clergy, our military leaders, our politicians. So when Gladstone, Winston Churchill, they always told the truth about Islam. The truth that Islam is a warlike religion. It's fascist, it's violent. Only the last 30, 40 years are we being fed a lie. No term, Islam is a religion of peace. We try to find that in the history books. We won't find that term. That was brought out of September 11 when George Bush lied to the world. Never before.
Sorry, just a nice view.
The seeds so bad. We have let an ideology into our country to gain control of towns and cities, to infiltrate our government, to run as mayors in our capital city. All under the guise and the lie. They're taking our children to mosques. They're in the education system. They're lying. When it turns, because it will turn in Europe, it will turn in England, and when it will turn so quick that everyone will start speaking openly and honestly. Everyone will identify the problem with it. If you look at Austria, since Austria elected a right-wing government, a government who identify Islam as a problem, the major celebrities and singers in that country are all now telling the truth about Islam.
So that's a pretty good question on that last tweet. I'll bring that one back up for a second. The question was, why do terrorist organizations like Hamas and Hezbollah have Twitter accounts, but Milo and Tommy don't? And it would be very, I think it would be more fair to, if they're gonna be consistent with their hate speech violations on these social media channels, that they should definitely block those accounts too. But since that's not going on, and we recognize that it's only certain opinions or viewpoints that you have that are getting blocked and shadow banned and shut down, that I mean, obviously there's a bias going on here.
We could have done this 3 years ago. We could have done this 4 years ago. We're now mainstream. The public support us. What? The lies. They don't believe the lies they're saying. So a personal thank you from me to every single one of you. You've made me. No one stood up on this stage earlier, and you're all singing my name. It's an amazing feeling. Now you've all got your British flag out, yeah? I now want to invite all the speakers for today to come up on stage. All the speakers Mark Lane and Heidi. We just want to... I'll say it here one more time. I want to thank George, Payne and Lucy, because I had some family issues over the last 2 weeks. My head was not on this story, and this wouldn't happen without them. And we want to end this now, because that is such a sight. What a beautiful sight. We want to end this on our national anthem.
Are we ready? God save our gracious Queen, God save our Queen, save our victorious, and glorious,
Yeah, refresh my memory again. What was that guy's name? James Damore, who tried to point out basic facts in the workplace about women and why there might be, some reason for the gender gap. That dude was fired quicker than you can do things quick. Yeah. I'll keep that running for a minute and just see what's going on there. But yeah. So what did y'all think about that? I thought that was pretty exciting there. I really wish I could be there. That would be even better. Seems like a lot of people showed up, and I'm just really curious over the course of the next couple of days how the mainstream media is going to report on this event. I mean, we already pretty much know what's going to happen, but it would just be interesting to see that verified. All right. So there was a interesting. Now wait, I keep getting messages retracted in the comments section. I'm wondering why that is. I don't know if it's because you guys are saying something inappropriate and it's automatically blocking it, or if you guys are retracting your own messages. And I'm really curious what you guys think about this whole idea that facts can be somehow racist or hate speech, or just calling attention to basic facts. And that doesn't make any sense to me, but seems like if you can get people to start ignoring facts and just hearing the 1984 style propaganda machine. Jesus. Anyway. Yeah, Zoe's comments are doing that, and then there was somebody else's comments that kept doing that. I'm not really sure why. It's nothing on my end. I'm not blocking anybody or anything. Yeah, anyway, I do tend to believe in free speech, and I'm not going to shut you down unless you're just being straight up disrespectful. Then in that case, I will block you from the feed for at least a little while. And I have done it in the past. People just want to come in and be insulting people. That's just not cool. All right, well, it looks like the main event is over. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up for the evening. That was pretty exciting. It looks like everybody was pretty peaceful, as I said before, and nobody was, getting attacked or anything like that. It even seemed like this big push for the Antifa group that wasn't even there, as far as I could tell. Anyway, I'm sure we'll see some other stuff turn up. But at any rate, I do appreciate y'all hanging out and watching this with me. This has been a lot of fun, and I've got literal chaos going on in my home right now as a result of this. So I've got to go wrangle about 13 kids. I don't think that's hypergamy. Hyperbole. Let's get my words right, dipshit. God. Anyway, yeah, I've got a bunch of kids spending the night, and house is in total disarray, but they have been pretty well behaved. I appreciate that, and I appreciate y'all being well behaved in the comment section. It's been a pleasure interacting with you guys. If you guys like what you heard today and you want to see more stuff like this, just make sure you hit the subscribe button. You know what to do. All right, y'all. Peace out. If you want to hear more uncomfortable conversations without a condom, come on back. I'll be here for you. All right. And I'm going to find the stop broadcast button now and awkwardly fill dead air until I can. Oh, there it is. Later.